Tom, how familiar were you with the story of the Kray brothers? I know you played in Bronson a character who actually was a friend of one of the Krays at one point.
Oh yeah, technically, yeah.
Technically,
they're kind of one big happy family.
Yeah.
England's quite small in that aspect, so our sort of criminal underworld. And
did you know much about their story before you came to this?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite hard to. As growing up in England as a young boy, I ended up in sort of the true crime fiction area or the true crime area, but even that's riddled with fiction. Do you know what I mean? Especially when it comes to the Krays, and there's always like a plethora of books on all of these characters because we sort of there's something since Charles Dickens really where we've always like Bill Sikes. We always kind of love an old crook or a villain, and we kind of love that in the UK. So there's lots of bits of pieces and secondary sources of people's stories about the Krays, and there's always I suppose tales and myths that usually are asinine that circulate about certain colourful characters which are in abundance and something that we revel in as well in not popular culture but within our culture of fiction and fact. So I'd read and been around and seen things and heard stories about the Krays, and growing up in London everybody's got pretty much a story or a take on them. So it was already there was plenty to draw upon. The question was like where to find the best stories or similar patterns which could take you closer to a primary source like a photograph, which is definitely guaranteed that's them. But stories are very different because they're like, there's no guaranteed fact in a story. So it was a question of researching that and looking for patterns after that and meeting people who knew them and grabbing diary extracts and unseen footage from Panorama or meeting investigative journalists and stuff and meeting the firm. And a lot of people come out of the woodwork when you start talking or saying you're going to do a biopic about them. You start to meet everybody, and they're more than happy to tell you a story, which is surprising for something that's so supposedly not talked about really, like gangsters and crime. You shouldn't really talk about it, I suppose, but they love to talk about it. So.